Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rotoworld Fantasy Baseball Player News Q&A. I'm Eric Samulski. He's James Schiano. This is the last one for us, James. Sorry to tell everybody that, but this is going to be the last one for us. Baseball season's coming to an end. Football season is here. And, it's just the nature of the beast, my friend. But this was a pleasure this season doing these with you. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed them. Hopefully, people just kind of like, come and thought we were helpful, anything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, great play. Definitely. Thanks for all you guys in the questions all season. Thank you guys for supplying those. This felt like a helpful thing to do, like sit here on Monday afternoons and just be like bouncing things off as you guys go through lineup decisions. So it's been fun to do. Happy to do it and happy to do one last time because I'm sure that you guys who are in here right now have some really important decisions with either playoff matchups or if only a few weeks left to accumulate roto points. This is major gut check time in fantasy baseball. You got to be really disciplined this time of year to win your championships as football goes. It takes over everything.
Yeah, there's still points to be gained, right? September, we talked about, is a time when people can turn their attention and you can gain points. It's hard to, move from sixth to first, right? Depending on how close the standings are. But you can inch your way up. You can get into the money if you're in the top. There's obviously stuff to gain. If you're sitting dead last and you want to just rise up off the bottom, those are still valuable things. So we're here to help you through that. We're going to answer any questions you have for this week. If you have questions like, rest of season wise, we'll do our best. And then just a reminder, I am at Samski NYC on Twitter. James is at James_Schiano. We're both on Blue Sky too. Reach out to us, the next couple of weeks, even if we're not doing this Q&A. We're happy to help you with, lineup questions and things like that. If you are in playoffs, things like and of that nature. I just got eliminated from my only head-to-head playoffs. I was the third seed. I was up 7-3 going into Sunday, and I lost. It was just, the offense did nothing. His offense was tremendous. The pitching came through for him. It's a huge bummer. So my fantasy season is done, but I'm here to help you with yours.
Yeah, I lost one of my playoff matchups yesterday. I won another one. I have a bye in 2 separate leagues. It's a lot of nonsense going on right now. After this, I can't wait to have the long sit down, set every lineup session, which I'm pretty excited for.
Yes. Yeah. I am trying. I usually do that, but with football content, I've just been in front of the computer all day writing. And so we'll get to that at the end of this. But yeah, that's my only head-to-head league. Dad says you guys are goats. Thanks a ton for the season-long analysis. Thank you,
Dad.
We'll be back doing it again next year. Harry says thank you for all the help. Thank you for coming all the time, asking questions. It means a lot to us that you guys are here. So we'll get to some of those questions now. Jetta says, can we trust Eury Perez again? Sure. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I think that there was always a likelihood that guys like Eury Perez coming off a long layoff from Tommy John surgery, we knew that there was going to be inconsistencies. There weren't a lot of inconsistencies early on. So I think it was easy to be like, oh, hey, he's figured it out. He's tiring, I think. I mean,
certainly
that's my take on it. He's been out for a long time. His last few starts are not great. I think that he's struggling and he's tiring. I don't think he's a must start anymore. But I wouldn't say like with things like that are like fatigue based, pitchers are funny characters, man. And he could just lock it in for a start and say, I've got to finish on a strong note, power through whatever it is. So yeah, I'm not fully out right now.
No, but also definitely realizing that you might not see the heights that we've seen as he really was blazing hot through the summer. Like Eury Perez, the most innings he's ever thrown in a professional season was 2023, 127. This year, the all levels after the full year layoff from Tommy John, he's about at 100. So I think there is definitely some fatigue built in here. You still feel like there's more, but we talk a lot about when guys come back from Tommy John surgery that you'll get the stuff to get the velocity right away. We've seen it firsthand with Eury's teammate, Santi Alcantara, but then it's kind of the command. And that's the thing that Eury has struggled with in general in his game. So I think now just having like a bad command oscillation versus what were pretty good command oscillations, that's how he goes down. So not exactly that it's done for the season, but you probably will have a difficult decision if you're in, say, like a 10-team league, and you might have, and you like, there's a 2-star Jose Quintana out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those decisions where it's like, it's really uncomfortable, but you might have to hold your nose and do it.
What makes it more difficult is that the schedule is pretty nice because it's a 2-step this week, Washington and then Detroit. And obviously Detroit's a good team, but it's
home or road
offense.
Actually, both parts.
Both are home. And so it's like, oh, I kind of like that. And then he goes at Texas next week. And Texas is a great park to pitch in. And this is also a Rangers lineup that is probably going to be without Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, Marcus Semien. Like, I don't know who they have healthy. It's hard to keep Eury Perez out of your lineup right now, even though he's been so bad.
Yesterday, in the Rangers game, Rangers had a huge series. I think they just, I know they won 2 of the games. They didn't sweep. But no, because they lost to the DeGrom. The DeGrom starts Saturday. But yesterday, they had Kyle Higashioka hitting 5th, Dylan Moore, who they just acquired off the scrap heap, hitting 6th. Michael Hellman is getting regular playing time. Josh Young, who was benched about 6 weeks ago, was hitting 3rd. Someone named Cody Freeman is hitting 2nd. Like, this Rangers,
Freeman, AAA, baby.
This Rangers lineup right now is objectively one of the worst in baseball. And it's one that it's probably kind of sharp for you to go target it, because I think a lot of your league mates probably will always be like, oh, Rangers pretty good lineup, but not realizing that without Seager and Semien, and Adolis Garcia, it's absent, devoid of anything.
Yeah. I might trust Yu Darvish a little more. Says, I'm desperate for starting pitchers. Playoff opponent with 11 starting pitchers and 13 starts this week. I think you can trust Yu Darvish. He's oscillated between good starts and bad starts of late, but he, hasn't totally fallen on his face. I mean, there has been some good starts mixed in. Cincinnati is at home in San Diego. He gets Colorado at home in San Diego. Like, it's hard to have 2 better starts right there. And then he gets the White Sox next week. I mean, I think you gotta do it. I think you have to.
I'll do you one better, because the Padres have 7 games this week, along with Darvish having those starts, Cincinnati and home against the Rockies. So does Nestor Cortez. That's the one where it's like, that's a decision if you really want to get desperate. But I'm with you in using Yu Darvish, because volume this time of year is really important. Like, seeing that you have a start disadvantage, just start accumulating, because it probably you won't change that much based on the pitchers that are towards the bottom of your starting lineup anyway. Just get the extra guy in there and give yourself more bites at the apple.
Yeah. Do you think Trea Turner returns by next week? Was wondering to drop Ward over Matt McClain. Ward has been a no-show last 2 weeks. So we don't currently have any timeline on Turner. He missed 6 weeks with a hamstring strain last year. We don't know, obviously, the extent of this strain, but those kind of soft tissue injuries do tend to recur, especially in guys that are aging speedsters like Turner. And so do I think he's back next week? I have no knowledge of this. It's my gut feeling, and I would say no. Yeah, I don't think the Phillies want to push him.
No, the Phillies have almost everything locked up. They're kind of on the razor's edge of whether or not they can get a bye in National League playoffs, but I don't know if you push Trea Turner, possibly risk him. Even if you get Trea Turner back next week, you're not going to get the best version of Trea Turner back next week. It behooves everybody to have him sit down for a little while. And I think that it would be shocking if he played up to his full capacity next week. Maybe he plays, but I don't think so. I think we're probably just having no news in these situations, often bad news. So I would say just plan for being without Trea Turner for a few weeks.
Would you drop Taylor? I'm assuming this is Taylor Ward. Would you drop Taylor Ward for Matt McClain if you had Turner and needed to cover?
Absolutely, desperately needing a shortstop. Yeah, Taylor Ward was a little bit off. Then he had that really scary injury running into the wall in Houston, and he's not hit at all since he came back very quickly from that. I'd be pretty comfortable dropping Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward, we always talk about how underrated and how great he is, but you could probably find that like playing time somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that one. We're in the points league territory.
Dylan.
Choose 2 starting pitchers. Sandy Alcantara against Washington. Kelly, Milwaukee. Merrill Kelly?
It's got to be Merrill
Kelly against Peralta. Bradish against Burrows and the Pirates. And Aaron Nola twice. It's the Mets and the Royals. Where are you going?
Both those Nola starts are home as well. It's just, again, like we were saying before, this time of year, you kind of want the double starts. I know Nola's been a little bit scary. Even that game last Wednesday, I blurbed it when he gave up 5 in the first inning against the Brewers. He gave up nothing after that. And you don't want to be like, oh, just a big 3-run home run kind of ruined the whole outing. But just a 3-run home run kind of did ruin the whole outing. He is back to between 91 and 92. The curveball command is decent enough. I think with 2 starts from this group, it's hard to sit him. And otherwise, I think Sandy would be the definite next bet. But the strength of these other options, because I like Sandy, I like Merrill Kelly, and I love what I've seen from Bradish these last few weeks.
Yeah, and Bradish against the Pirates, it's hard to turn away from.
Sandy against Washington. So I guess if you are really scared of the blow up, but if you're chasing, if you think that you're at a disadvantage right now, then I would opt for Nola. But if you think that you're a little bit more comfortable and you want to be more risk averse, I would go with Sandy Bradish.
That's where I went. I mean, that's where my head went, was to Sandy and Bradish. So that's kind of like my lean.
Yeah.
Harry wants to know Royce, Lewis, or Vientos head-to-head points redraft.
Vientos has been unbelievable for like a month straight now. He's about to backdoor the exact season the projections projected him for after basically not being a complete non-factor for 4 months of the season. Like, he's literally going to wind up with 23 homers and 755 OPS, just like we all thought, just not the shape that we thought was going to come in. I know Royce is getting hot too. Just kind of case of 2 guys who are steaming hot right now. I think that the Mets have 7 games this week. I'm not sure how many the Twins have, so having a 7-game week might just push the scales in favor of Vientos a little bit.
I trust you on that. I mean, it's all everything Mets. I lean to you. Royce Lewis has been good, but yeah, Vientos has been playing great.
Yeah, 6-game week for 7-game week. That might be it.
Here's an interesting question with your superstars at this point in the season. Dylan has been watching Ronald Acuña slog through an 0 for 25 slide. Acuña hit 6th on Saturday. He hit 7th on Sunday.
Crazy.
So Dylan is currently starting Luke Keeschel in a points league over Ronald Acuña. Is that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's definitely crazy. It's why does Brian Snitker do weird things with Ronald Acuña? Like, I don't care if he goes 0 for 40, he should be hitting first, second, or third on your team. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's a bona fide superstar. He's been in your club for a long time. Weirdly, also for him, this is the first time I think Ronald Acuña Jr. has ever been part of a losing season, because the Braves have been so good during his entire tenure. I get very weird vibes about whatever's going on with him being dropped in the lineup, but at the same time, you don't take Ronald Acuña. You don't be like Brian Snitker and move him down your own line, and keep him in, because he might spitefully hit 6 home runs this week.
So then points league, Dylan has this follow-up question for points league. So if he's keeping Acuña in, basically has to then either move Keeschel to the bench or move any of Randy Arozarena, Riley Green. You're not moving Yordan Alvarez. So Randy Arozarena, Riley Green, Ramon Laureano, or Keeschel. Who's getting benched there? Points league again.
Is it Green? Like, Laureano's been so ridiculously hot, I can't take him out. Green's also been very good.
Acuña's been pretty good. I mean, Arozarena's been pretty good the last.
Yeah.
I know stolen bases aren't as valuable in a points league, but, he's been pretty good.
Riley Green Tigers on the road all week. They're in Yankee Stadium starting tomorrow.
Yeah. Riley Green over the last 2 weeks hitting 298 again. 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 7 runs.
Also, he's facing Will Warren and Cam Schlittler, 2 guys who aren't the best against lefties. You probably do keep. It's tough. I mean, you probably just take out Keeschel, honestly. I think from this debate, it winds up to be Keeschel versus Acuña, and I go with Acuña over Keeschel.
Yep. That's where I'm going on this as well.
Yeah.
12 Swoosh says 12 team allowed 3
Swoosh.
keepers. Caminero, Gunnar Henderson, J-Rod, Acuña, Roman are my options. They count as top 3-round picks. If you don't keep them, you get an early pick. What should I do if I should even keep? Well, first of all, you should definitely keep, because within that group, there's absolutely 3 guys that are worth being the top 3 picks in your draft.
For sure.
I think Gunnar Henderson you have to keep. I think it's the position and it's the 5 category upside. It's tough on the other ones, because it's like, how would you tell somebody not to keep Ronald Acuña?
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be another year removed from the knee injury. And so what if he's back to being a top 5 player in baseball? Caminero doesn't steal bases, which is a bit of a problem. But I mean, you don't get much better power than that. I think that Roman Anthony here is interesting. I love Roman Anthony, obviously, and I'm a Red Sox fan. I think from a fantasy perspective, if you're not in like an OPS or an OBP league, he might have the lowest ceiling in 2026 of those guys because he's not going to contribute across as many categories. I mean, he's going to hit leadoff for the Red Sox next year is my assumption. And so I think there's 100 runs and maybe he goes like 2015 with a really good batting average and 100 runs. And that's a really good season.
Yeah.
I think I say Caminero, Gunnar, and Acuña are my three here.
I think so too. I think pretty blatantly because I think J-Rod too. Love Julio. He's just not the same level of those guys. And Anthony is going to probably go through a period these next few years where he's a bit better of a real life player than a fantasy baseball player because he's never, at least until the power comes, which I believe it will, but it might take a little bit. Like you might get like a Michael Garcia season from Roman Anthony next year, fantasy baseball wise, where he might, I mean, he probably won't even maintain that batting average, like you said, for OPP. Where do you think next year Caminero goes in the main event, the NFBC leagues, in a 15-team league, like 5x5 league? How high does Caminero go after hitting 45 homers from third base position?
Doesn't he go like around where Jordan goes? Maybe a little higher because I'd rather have the third base than the outfield.
It's like a back end first round pick.
Because isn't that kind of the argument for Jordan Alvarez is like he's great, but he only contributes in 4 categories. And so I can't put him over.
He's still 10 bags.
Kyle Tucker, but like I can't put him over the Kyle Tuckers and all the guys who are 5 category contributors. I will say that like, let's see, let's use just general. I mean, this is just kind of like, you know, inexact science. But over the last month, Caminero has 10 home runs over the last month. He's been great. He is the 11th. Awesome. He is the 11th ranked hitter on the Fangraphs player rater. Because you have guys like, you know, Soto. Soto's 12 steals in the last month. It's stupid. But Soto,
he wants 40.
Turner, Corbin Carroll, Jazz, like these guys are all stealing double-digit bases. Profar's ahead of him because Profar has 7 homers and 5 steals over the last 30 days. George Springer has 9 homers and 4 steals over the last 30 days. And so again, inexact science, Geraldo Perdomo, 6 homers and 7 steals over the last month. So like those guys will have more fantasy value if they're contributing across 5 categories than Caminero. And also, what's the park next year?
Yes, that's what I was going to get at.
If it's not a minor league park, do the homers go down to 35? Which again, totally great. But is Caminero? I think this is an interesting thing. Is Caminero the third base version of Vlad Jr., where he plays a season in a minor league ballpark, hits 45 whatever homers? We chase that season forever and get upset because he routinely is a 30 to 35 homer guy with a plus batting average, but isn't like the guy he was in that 1 year he played in a minor league park.
I think the plus batting average is going to be the most difficult one to track as well. Like I think that's something that really helps Jordan and Vladimir Guerrero guarantee that consistent year-over-year back end first round value. I don't see Caminero getting as close to 300 average as either of those guys. So Vladimir Guerrero is going to be close. He's close to winning batting titles. Where Caminero, you're kind of be like, don't hurt me batting average, help me a little bit. Have you also seen his home and road splits, Junior Caminero?
Well, look them up right now.
It's a 320 batting average at home and a 198 on the road.
198 batting average on the road.
But not that different of a power apple, which is funny. But that is such a stark batting average difference. It's like 400 points worth of OPS between home and the road, which is kind of incomprehensible. It's almost a 1,000 OPS at home and a 690 on the road. So I think the park situation for all these Rays players, the hitters, and then also the pitchers. So I think every pitcher now has become a little bit underrated because of how difficult it is to pitch at that Steinbrenner field. There's a great analysis that comes out like all the time about the wind. I can't wait to learn more about this in the offseason, how much the wind affected those pitchers, start in, start out. But
yeah,
Caminero seems to me like the textbook guy that will be overdrafted next spring. Like he wound up sneaking into like the 10 to 15 range and then probably hit 260 with 33 homers. People would be like, all right, 4th round pick next year.
Yeah, I think that's great. I did not know the home road splits. That's wild.
Yeah.
Speaking of poor batting averages, Dad wants to know what's wrong with Elly De La Cruz. He's hitting 224 for August, only 3 steals, 0 homers, 8 extra base hits. I mean, it's a little bit of Elly De La Cruz. Like, there are contact issues, and contact issues will lead to streakiness. Also, a guy who, probably doesn't need to be hitting right-handed. Just going to throw that out there. Doesn't do particularly well against lefties. Like, let's see if he can hit lefties left-handed. It hasn't. The second half for Elly De La Cruz hasn't been great. Let's throw these splits on here. So in 46 games in the second half, hitting 234, 29% strikeout rate, 1 home run, 7 steals, 24 runs scored, 17 RBIs. I don't know. I mean, a little bit of a free swinger with a platoon issue, who's in a lineup that wasn't performing as well as we thought it was going to be performing. This is certainly a disappointing season for people who drafted Elly De La Cruz like in the top 5 picks.
He's another one where next year I can't really place where his value is going to be, because like a 35 season, that's not like that's still definitely a first round pick with a batting average. Again, that's fine. Brought that up, but it seems like Elly's gone through he's tried to make some adjustments that I don't really think have helped him very much. I think he's kind of stuck between being 2 different players. Like, watching his bat speed go down across the board by just a tick in every direction, but while also shortening the swing, it seems like he does want to try and alleviate some of those contact things. And that's kind of something where you got to be yourself, play to your strengths. Like, the thing that Elly De La Cruz can do best is swing fast, hit ball hard. Like, that's the coolest thing about his game. And the fact that he's lost a few ticks of that bat speed from the left side to still be an elite bat speed guy, but that's seeing that, and then while the swing is shortening as well, and literally seeing the batting average go up, which I think that could be something that's like an objective. It's like, okay, cool, they're trying to blend some pieces of his game together, but at the same time, it's not giving us the same production that we come to expect and want from Elly De La Cruz.
No, but I again, like, what's wrong with him? I just don't know that you could take him out of your lineup again.
No, of course not.
Like, it's just kind of, at this point in the season, you just cross your fingers and hope we get a hot week to end it. You're not going to drop him for somebody like Andrew Benintendi or Dalen Lyle. Skywalker says they're not flashy, but they're hot lately. Would you drop a player like PCA for them? That's tough. PCA has been struggling. We knew he was going to come down to earth a little bit after that early season barrage. He's battling a little bit of a knee injury, but he said he feels fine, so he should be playing today, but we'll see. I don't know that I could go to that level to pick up these guys, because you're talking about guys who are really producing fantasy value, in particular Lyle, based on batting average. Over the last 2 weeks, Lyle has 8 runs scored, or 8 runs scored and 6 RBIs. It's like, okay, 1 homer, 1 steal. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm not dropping somebody with PCA's upside for that. Benintendi has no steals, but he's hitting more homers. I prefer Benintendi to Lyle. I probably would keep PCA over both of them.
Yeah, the shallower league, though, the conversation about dropping PCA should be probably had internally. Like, I think that. Sure. I don't know how much PCA turns this around. We're going on multiple months now with the OPS starts with 6. There's still power and speed, but it's definitely a point where, again, like a 10 or 12 team league, you should be looking at just some other outfielders out there probably, but definitely guys that are better than Benintendi and Lyle. Like, those aren't players I would even consider jumping for at that moment. But something like Noelvi Marte still hanging around your waiver wire, like, that's an easy one. Ramon Laureano, I think, for PCA. Again, if you're in a 10 team league that you're still trying to Trent Grisham. I don't know if he'd be out there too, but just the names that you could see floating around a 10-team waiver wire that I think will be better than PCA to end the season.
This is the second year in a row Benintendi's done this. I added him in a few places last year. Last year in the second half, in 60 games in the second half, he hit 263 with 13 homers. Now, in 41 games in the second half so far, he's hitting 269 with 7 homers. Like, he's kind of, I don't know. I don't know why it only happens for like 2 months to end the season. But Benintendi did this last year. He's doing it now. The White Sox lineup is not great, but I think
it's not awful anymore. It's improved the second half. Yeah.
At bat. Kyle Teal has been hitting really well. Colson Montgomery is still outproducing what I thought he was going to do. Curtis Mead's been solid. Edgar Quero, like there are enough major league hitters in that lineup now.
They did something funny last week where they stacked 2 catchers at the top of their lineup because Quero hit leadoff and Teal hit second. I was trying to think, like, has any team ever had back-to-back catchers to start their lineup ever, basically, in the history of baseball? It's funny.
It is. I saw that too, and I was like, I can't believe this is happening, but whatever. Confidence level in starting Zebby tomorrow against the Angels.
Some
moderate.
Yeah.
I mean, I put him as a moderate confidence level streamer for me this week, where I said I was likely to use him, but it should be good. It should be good. He has looked better of late. I can't tell you because there were starts where he was clicking before and then he had a bad one. And so I don't know.
We've seen
it's like a Jose Soriano situation. I just don't know which version of him is going to show up.
We've seen the velocity go down a little bit for Zebby over the last few starts. But then also last start, I blurbed it Wednesday night. He really just went full kitchen sink. It was the first time he'd ever gone 15% across the board with 5 different pitches. And I think that's him trying to, again, figure out paths forward without sitting 98. I think it was cool to see him do that. It was against the White Sox, the lineup we're talking about right now, the double catcher lineup. But I think that against the Angels lineup is also not very scary. There could be worse options out there. I think that there's a version of Zebby where he's definitely trying to find his way right now, find his path. He's someone I know for a fact I'll be very in on next season with this depressed price, but I think that if you have to, you have to. If you don't have to, you maybe don't have to.
If you have to, you have to.
You have to, you have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other possible options. Logan Webb versus Arizona versus the Dodgers, and Noah McLean at Phillies versus Texas. Safe this week for weekly lock leagues. My bench is Glasnow, Eury, and Ranger Suarez. I think you got to keep McLean in there.
He's got to come back to earth at some point, right?
Yes, but we just talked about that Rangers lineup.
Yes,
and you're going to get a Phillies lineup without Turner.
Right. Yeah.
And even though there are other good players there, it's not, whatever. They're not like an offense you want to attack. It knocks them down a little bit, and then you get that plus matchup against the Rangers. Isn't Glasnow battling something again now?
He was scratched Friday, then Ohtani came back from the illness and scratched him Wednesday. I don't know if we got official news that he was battling something. I'll check the blurbs right now, but there was no announcement in the moment on Friday.
And he's set to start today. And it's a home start against the Dodgers. Against the Rockies. And so it's hard to keep that out of your lineup if Glasnow is good to go for today. We already talked about the Eury Perez thing. I know the schedule is really good. I probably couldn't bench Logan Webb for Eury Perez, given the way Eury Perez has been pitching of late. And then Ranger Suarez gets 1 start against the Mets. So it's like, I don't know if I'm using a 1-start Ranger Suarez over a 2-start Logan Webb.
Yeah, definitely not.
I might use a 1-start Glasnow against the Rockies outside of Coors, though, because that could be like a really useful start.
That was also back stiffness for Glasnow. I also always get nervous about whenever something like this pops up with Glasnow, especially the way the Dodgers handle themselves. Like, he could go out there tonight, pitch 4 innings, like 60 pitches, and take him out of the game just because they understand what they're playing for. It has nothing to do with what's going to happen over the next few weeks. So I think it does scare me, but it might be too good of a spot. I don't know. I'll lean for the 2-starters in this case over the 1-starters.
Okay. Points league question. Points league, 3-keeper league, holding first, second, and third round value. Which of these 3 players should I keep? Ohtani, Acuña, Elly De La Cruz, or Nick Kurtz?
Which of these 3? Just one? Oh, because besides Ohtani. Am I crazy to say Kurtz?
Not in a points league, right?
No, I don't think so, because the stolen bases take Elly out immediately because they don't mean as much. So then it's Kurtz versus Acuña, and in terms of power production next season, I think it might sound crazy, but I don't know how different those 2 will be. I think you're looking at like 40 homers from each of them. And do we know where the Athletics are playing next year?
I think they're still playing in Sacramento. Is what I believe to be true.
If that's the case, I think that also possibly tips the scale. Again, in a points league, those, and I'm not Ronald Acuña's gonna steal base anyway, but it's actually a debate, which is shocking, truly, to me.
Yes, and if you could keep 3 of them, you're saying Elly De La Cruz is the odd man out.
Yes, I think pretty easily. Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But I get it. Joe says for 26, so for next year, if he's keeping James Wood and Julio Rodriguez or Carroll is available to draft, any concerns of taking 2 or 3 outfielders with your first 3 picks in a Roto league? I think in general, I'm not against it. It wouldn't be my ideal way to build a team. That said, I don't usually take starting pitchers in my first few picks. So I would just be looking at ideally trying to get somebody from a more from a position that's not as deep. But I'm not going to artificially bump somebody over Corbin Carroll just because I don't want 2 outfielders.
Yeah, there's that weird value prop that happens though in redraft leagues, especially like 3 outfielder redraft leagues, where you just know how many good outfielders there are, and you have to balance going after really high level players because a lot of them are outfielders in early rounds, while also leaving yourself the ability to get the value on like your own personal outfield 3. So it's just in this case, these players are that good, but it's really, I don't know. I like Carroll so much more than J-Rod too. I think that those 2 are on different tiers as players. Not exactly a knock against Julio Rodriguez, but just that's how good Corbin Carroll I believe him to be. These guys have both been pretty inconsistent. Carroll's highs are higher and his lows are a little bit higher than J-Rod's. I think that don't think about this in such a rigid way. Like if those guys are there, take them if you think they're the best on the board, but it's not the end of the world if you do, and it's not the end of the world if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think you got to keep James Wood, so we'll see how that goes. No problem getting those 2. Dad says I started Tong, Crochet, Nola, Snell, George Kirby, Shane Bieber, and Brian Wu. All around 4 runs or more. I'm suddenly not feeling as confident. Should I be worried going into the playoffs with my staff? No, on the surface. I mean, like, I'm a little worried about Aaron Nola, and Jonah Tong is fully unproven.
Yeah.
But if you're going into the playoffs with a staff of Garrett Crochet, Blake Snell, George Kirby, Brian Wu, Shane Bieber, like, that's a really good top 5. I don't know many others who will have a better just 5 guys. All that kind of stuff is matchup dependent, but I'm not overly worried. And again, Jonah Tong's next 2 starts versus Texas versus the Nationals. So that's pretty good right there. So I think that alleviates some of the Jonah Tong concern.
And Kirby doesn't look very good. He's probably at a point where he just needs to get back in the lab this offseason, get the fastball shape back to closer to where it used to be. That's why he's getting hit, I think, so hard right now. But the 2-start week against the Cardinals and the Angels are both coming at home. Like that's a smash. You have to ride with that.
Yeah, you could theoretically bench Kirby next week at Houston.
Probably should.
And maybe that's where you go like, hey, I'll start Jonah Tong against the Nationals next week over George Kirby against the Astros. Obviously, all that will depend on how things look this week, but that's totally feasible, viable. Aaron Nola also gets 1 against the Diamondbacks next week, and so it's kind of like Diamondbacks are an offense that's hit or miss right now. So I'm not overly worried about that.
No, just the upcoming schedules are your friend this time of year. Like if you have pitching concerns, like the first thing you should be doing is going to look at a schedule because you only got 3 or 4 starts left this season. It really matters who they're going to be made against.
Yeah. TM says, do you think Yelich, Stowers, Trevor McGill? I think this is Trevor McGill. We can't abbreviate the McGills as T McGill, guys.
It's probably Trevor McGill.
They're both T McGill, but it's probably Trevor McGill. Do you think that these guys return soon? I think we know Stowers is returning soon.
Yeah.
In fact, Isaac Azut, who's the Marlins beat writer for Fish on First, said today, 30 minutes ago, Kyle Stowers is back in Miami to get reevaluated today after being not in Jacksonville's lineup the past 2 days. So that actually feels like we might get a Stowers shutdown.
Yeah.
Been out of the lineup, now being reevaluated. Marlins aren't playing for anything. That would make me feel less confident that Kyle Stowers is going to be coming back this year. Yelich, I don't know.
This seems like they're just being careful. Again, that's a team that is in the spot right now where there's not a lot of wiggle room. There's not a lot of things that can change for them. So I think that they just want to make sure that he's there for the playoffs. And Trevor McGill threw a bullpen over the weekend. So it does seem like he could be back in the next few days. He's someone who probably doesn't need a rehab assignment like that.
Sophia Miniart, who covers the Brewers, said McGill threw 30 pitches in a second bullpen, and his next step will be throwing to hitters live on Tuesday in Texas. And so he'll throw to hitters tomorrow and maybe needs like a rehab appearance or two just because, but he hasn't been out that long. So maybe next week for McGill.
Yeah, I think the latest would be next week. I went away from Abner Uribe this week in a playoff matchup because I was like, if Trevor McGill comes back on Thursday, I lose 3 days of potential saves. Like, I don't even want to risk that right now, just based on him throwing a bullpen, doing an interview after saying he felt good. It seems like he's back in that bullpen ASAP. With the other two guys, especially Stowers, I wouldn't really hold my breath.
Are you holding your breath for Jack Caglianone, or is he a drop?
He's probably
would you take Austin Hayes, Matt Wallner, Wenzel Perez, or Jake Bowers over him in a 5x5 hits instead of average? I picked up Austin Hayes a few places over the weekend.
I'd say Hayes for sure.
He's back to starting every day again and has a good ballpark. And he's been valuable for us for a while.
Jack is still not getting the production, but he's still just hitting the ball hard. But in that line you gave initially right there, Hayes he plays too much. He's too productive to consider anyone else over him in here. But if you took Hayes out of that and you still told me it was Jack versus Wenzel and Wallner, I would probably still it'd be Perez or Caglianone, but I think I would still just hold on for that last bit of hope that Caglianone has one crazy weekend. But Hayes is too good from that list to consider.
I think it has. I think you have to if you need it's a 5x5. You're in the playoffs right now, so I think you got to go with Hayes.
That's it. He's way too reliable.
12-team points league. He's keeping Junior Caminero and Garrett Crochet, but Jetta wants to know. It looks like he can have one keeper between a $2 Nathan Eovaldi, a $5 Brandon Woodruff, or a $5 Zach Neto in a points league. Where are you going?
That's a weird one. I don't know. The nature of the Eovaldi injury makes me not that willing to have him as a keeper next year. He's bounced back before. He's like kind of a cat. You can't really kill him. But Woodruff has been so effective, like so much more effective than I thought he could be. And even when I thought he was going to dip a little bit the last few weeks, now he's kind of pulled the nose back up. In a points league, I don't know how much I'm really going crazy for a $5 Neto. Like I might lean Woodruff from this list.
Yeah, and I mean Woodruff. Season's not over.
No.
But Woodruff would be coming off a healthy season, a healthy off season. And so, I think your choices here are between Eovaldi and Woodruff based on off-season news around Eovaldi and seeing how it goes. But I could see keeping Woodruff over him for sure.
Yeah.
Swoosh wants to know, what do you think is wrong with Roki Sasaki? Is it a mental thing or does he need Tommy John? Both. I was the discussions of his injuries and whatever coming into here, I had him ranked like 37 or something like that coming into the regular season. And so I got him nowhere. And I still think he's talented. I still think he will be a good MLB pitcher. It might require surgery. It's also a big jump. And so I think it's a little bit of both, a little column A, a little column B, but it feels like something needs to be fixed this offseason, medically speaking.
It's scary, too, because looking back for Roki's last few years in the MPB as well, there's a trend of velocity going down, generating fewer swings and misses. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a 3-year slide for Roki. You don't like to see 3-year slides for guys in their early, mid-20s at this point, but there probably needs to be a firm, full reset somewhere at some point because he's pitching these games in AAA and he doesn't even look good in AAA. Like there's a massive problem here. Even if we can't diagnose what the problem is right now, there's no reason to be holding on to him in any leagues. A Dynasty league, of course, you've really lost a lot of value. You're probably pot committed Roki at this point, but even an IL spot, you can find a better option right now.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Brian wants to know, in a points league again, 2-start Hail Mary, Adrian Hauser at the White Sox, at the Cubs, or Jacob Latz versus Milwaukee and at the Mets.
Oh, bad. So bad.
I I think it has to be Latz.
I think it would have to be Latz as well. Hauser stinks. I know the ERA is still kind of like low, but it's bad. He goes out there and just hopes you don't hit the ball well. I don't really like Latz either, though. Like, there's not much to speak of Hail Mary wise. Again, Hail Mary is Hail Mary, but I guess I'm rolling with Latz. I mean, maybe Hauser gives you a better chance to actually get wins. I don't know. Then this Rangers lineup right now.
Does he? I mean,
does he? I don't know. I'm asking. I'm talking out loud. I have no idea.
I guess. I mean, he gives you a better chance to get wins against the White Sox. That's the one game that feels winnable. Yeah. I think Latz is a better pitcher than Hauser.
Definitely.
And so I'm gonna go there.
At least Latz, like, the fastball's intriguing. Like, it's above average velocity, above average movement for a lefty. So it's like you got something, but it's not. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skywalker wants to know: do you drop or hold Nick Lodolo or Jonah Tong for Luis Garcia? Luis Garcia's velocity was down like pretty significantly. From what we've seen in the past. I know he had a decent outing, but I'm not like jumping for joy for Luis Garcia. We just talked about Jonah Tong's upcoming schedule, so I would not be dropping Jonah Tong for Luis Garcia, and I find it hard to drop Nick Lodolo for Luis Garcia.
So you want to know Nick Lodolo's upcoming schedule as we talk about schedules?
Is it going to be really bad?
He ends the season at San Diego, at Sacramento, versus the Cubs, and then he could be either Pirates or Brewers in his last start of the season. So you have 3 straight starts for Lodolo. You're not that excited. One of them being this week in a 2-start week, but at Padres, at Sacramento.
But I should just say Luis Garcia's next 2 starts are at Toronto, at Atlanta.
Another bad one. All right, there you go.
So I'd rather
Lodolo
than make that move.
Yeah, I agree.
Dad wants to know: is John Means worth an IL stash for possible volume play in the playoffs, or is he a don't bother? It's a don't bother for me.
Yeah, sadly. The Guardians
hey, it would be great if he makes 2 starts in the big leagues this year, and maybe you feel like he's entering 2026 healthy in somebody's rotation, but it's a don't bother for me.
Yeah, I just don't even think John Means at this point we can expect him to be that good. Like, I just don't. I think there's way more. It's funny to say about someone like John Means, but there's just more name value on there than there actually is on-field production.
Yeah, I mean, Means has always been somebody like we dreamed on, like if the velocity holds and if the this and if the that. So Dad is asking about Tyler Mahle as a stash. I will say I'm looking right now. Sean McFarland, who covers the Rangers for Dallas News, said, yesterday Mahle threw 2 1/3. He struck out 3 batters, allowed 2 hits, walked 1, fastball ran in the low 90s. Low 90s for Mahle is kind of not too far off of where he was normally at. Looks like 70% strike rate, 5 whiffs in 2 1/3 innings. Is he worth an IL stat? If you have an open IL spot, sure.
Yeah, if it's not nothing.
Again, I mean, he threw 46 pitches. Like, he's going to probably make 1 more, and then maybe he comes back somewhere throwing like between 60 and 70 pitches. So I just don't know what the ultimate upside is, but I am a believer in that if you can put somebody on the IL and you have the spot, like, why not? It is a roster spot. You should use it.
What a weird scenes from Mahle too, just to come out blazing out of the gate, get hit a little bit, then go out with, I think it was just, they said like a shoulder sprain or fatigue or something, and get no updates, absolutely nothing about him for basically 4 straight months until now we get September, and he's just starts making rehab assignments kind of out of nowhere. It's funny.
Yeah. And there's also some thought that, like, there are some people who are speculating that he could come back at like 55, 60 pitches and be used kind of like in a bulk situation. And so, yeah, I guess so. Why not? Maybe you get 4 good innings out of Mahle.
Yeah.
In some starts here and there. Basebone wants to know, is Keller the Cubs' right-handed pitcher, the relief pitcher to pick up as the potential closer? Yes. Did you know? Because I recorded a video on Palencia today and Brad Keller, and I was not aware until looking at the stats that Brad Keller is on a 20 appearance scoreless streak.
That's really good.
Yes.
Palencia is also awesome, though.
It's pretty good.
The fact that they pulled those 2 guys out of nowhere to have like actual really good back end of the bullpens, kind of impressive. Like that's a hats off to the Cubs organization right there.
I thought the Red Sox were going to do that with Keller last year, where I was like, they moved him to the bullpen, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. And then he got like lit up. And I was like, oh, I guess it's not going to be interesting. But yeah, Keller in the second half of the season, Keller has not allowed a run in 20 and a third innings. He has struck out 25. He has walked 6. It's a 0.44 whip. He's the best arm. They have guys like Andrew Kittredge and stuff who have closed in the past. So could they use Keller in the 8th inning against the heart of the order and use Kittredge to close a game? Sure, it's entirely possible.
Is something wrong with Palencia? Is that why this question's come up?
Yes. He left the game with trainers yesterday.
Yes,
and counsel said he was concerned and that he thinks it was that they were looking at the posterior capsule in the shoulder.
Oh, that's very bad. Oh yeah, if he's gone, then definitely Keller's the man. I think that's easy. Keller's been working 8th innings. Usually the 8th inning guy just bumps right up to the 9th inning. Easy peasy.
That's my thought. Down the stretch, Michael wants to know Sal Stewart or Caleb Durbin.
I would do Stewart if he was playing a little bit more consistently, but right now he's just kind of getting his spots when he gets them. It's not every day. And Durbin is every day. So I think that's it. But Stewart's bat, his skill set, I think, is much more intriguing than Durbin's is objectively.
Yeah. I do like they've been mixing Stewart in at first and at third. And so there's like seems to be options for him. But yeah, I think like Durbin's playing more regularly, has the speed value, and I think you lean Durbin.
No.
Last question for right now, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. But Lou wants to know, he says, Kyle Tucker's out of the lineup again today, and counsel made very vague statements about him approaching availability. What are our thoughts? I mean, listen, this is the second year in a row where Kyle Tucker fractured something, and we found out much delayed that he fractured something. Interestingly enough, if we're doing the connecting the dots, Crawley's Cubs Kingdom, who is a Cubs fan account, posted a screenshot of Moises Ballesteros' Twitter account where he is at a hotel in Atlanta right now, Moises Ballesteros, but he is not on the active roster for the Cubs. So either he's just vacationing in Atlanta for no reason, but no, it would seem that Ballesteros is on the taxi squad. And that's now going to be 4 days in a row, I believe, 4 games off for Tucker. I don't know, man. It seems like they need to put him on the IL if he's not healthy. It seems like they probably should have done it a week ago, but I don't know what to tell you.
It is funny looking back to when Owen Casey was called up, and now he doesn't like. Now that he plays, people are like, "Oh, where is he ever going to play?" Now we get these weird Kyle Tucker things happening. Like Willie Castro is able to sneak his way back in the lineup. Kevin Alcantara's got his way into the lineup yesterday. It's the weirdness surrounding Kyle Tucker for multiple years in a row is someone who it just makes me not really want to consider him in drafts moving forward, like future years.
And is why, like, I know we want to blame the Astros, and partially we can because of the Jordan Alvarez thing and all the other things. But how does the same hitter 2 years in a row have a fracture that is not publicly known to be a fracture until months later?
It's very strange.
Like, is he asking for it to be kept silent? Is he? I don't know. But
maybe he's keeping it silent himself.
I guess. Yeah. And listen, fractures are not like recurring injuries where we can't be like, oh, Kyle Tucker's injury prone because he's had fractures of 2 different bones in 2 years. But yeah, it is unfortunate. And look, I don't know if it's going to happen, but somebody could get a real interesting little discount on the free agent market coming off these last 2 years of Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, nice 2 for $70 with a 1-year option.
It could be something weird like that, but but it is
because he is that good. Like Kyle Tucker is that good objectively, but it's just the weirdness continues and it makes leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. As a Red Sox fan, I'm like, can you make that Joe Ryan trade in the offseason and like get rid of Duran or whatever or somebody and then do that like 2-year deal with Kyle Tucker?
Yeah.
Where like we don't have to worry about like blocking everybody forever, but like let's get Kyle Tucker and we'll rotate the 4 outfielders across the DH spot and say bye-bye to Masataka Yoshida and just like call it a day. Could be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see. But thank you guys for everything. Lou again says, thank you for an awesome season, guys. Much appreciated. Dylan says, thanks for an amazing season. Every single week. We thank you. We're glad you're still here. We're glad you come out to do this. It allows us to continue to do this, right? If there were 10 people every week, they wouldn't let us keep doing this. If we didn't have questions to fill up 45 minutes to an hour, they wouldn't let us keep doing this. So I anticipate us being here, in the regular season. I anticipate us being here through draft season to help you guys. Maybe we'll be here during the winter meetings. We'll do some special ones, or we could talk about some of the free agent signings, things like that. So again, follow both of us on Twitter. We'll update those things out. Happy to be here answering all your questions. James, happy to sit virtually across from you all season. It was awesome. Thank you for everything. Thanks for being here with me every Monday.
Yeah, same, dude. It's great. Again, thank you guys for building this community up, having you guys to rely on every single week to be here together. It's nice. We got seeing a lot of the same faces every single week is cool. Seeing the same questions, kind of getting to know some of your guys' teams, knowing that Dylan's always asking the points league stuff. Who I think Basebone's the one who has hits instead of average. Like, it's funny to get
average, yeah.
to maintain this camaraderie with you guys. Answer questions about Ryan Nelson every single week.
Every week. There's no Ryan Nelson questions this week, everybody.
I know. So that was just good. People are already locked in for how good he is.
We will tell you, Ryan Nelson is pitching against the Twins later this week, and yes, you should start him.
Good streamer.
Get him in the lineups. Tell your friends. Let's keep growing this group. Let's get a bigger group out next week. We'll start hitting the ground running
here
from March, and we'll see you then. For James Schiano. Oh yes, thanks, Dylan. Ryan Nelson.
Cantillo. Ryan Nelson.
So we'll just say Cantillo is facing the Royals, and Ryan Nelson is facing the Twins.
Still roll with Ryan Nelson.
Ryan Nelson.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dylan. Ryan Nelson question to end the season. We had to do it. He's James Schiano. I'm Eric Samulski. This is the Rotoworld Player News Fantasy Baseball Q&A. We'll check you hopefully in the off season. Good luck in your fantasy baseball playoff.